How did Sharon Tate die? Inside the brutal murder of a Hollywood star on the rise on August 9, 1969, actress Sharon Tate and 4 others were gruesomely butchered at her Los Angeles home by followers of cult leader Charles Manson. Sharon Tate's death at the hands of the Manson family shocked America and, some say, marked the end of the 1960s. When 26-year-old actress Sharon Tate died at the hands of the Manson family cult on August 9, 1969, her star was still on the rise. Though she had snagged roles in a number of films, she hadn't yet had her big break. Her grisly death at 8.5 months pregnant, however, immortalized her as one of the most tragic murder victims in American history. The day before Sharon Tate's murder passed like any other. Staying at a rented mansion at 10050 Cielo Drive in Los Angeles, California with friends, Tate laid out by the pool, argued via telephone with her husband, the infamous director Roman Polanski, and went out for dinner. At the end of the night, she and 3 companions returned to the house. None of them saw the 4 followers of Charles Manson as they approached the property in the wee hours of August 9, 1969. Charles Manson arrives at the Inyo County Courthouse in the aftermath of the Tate murders on December 3, 1969. Instructed by Manson to totally destroy everyone in the home, brutally killed everyone inside the house, murdering Sharon Tate, her unborn baby, her friends Wojciech Frykowski, Abigail Folger, Jay Sebring, and a salesman named Stephen Parent, who had the bad luck of being on the property that night. Sharon Tate's death shocked America. The beautiful young actress had been stabbed 16 times and hanged from a ceiling beam in the home. And her killers had used her blood to smear the word pig on the front door. This is the story of Sharon Tate's promising rise in Hollywood, her gruesome death, and the murder trial that captivated the entire nation. Sharon Tate's path to Hollywood stardom. Born on January 24, 1943, in Dallas, Texas, Sharon Tate spent her early life on the move. According to the New York Times, her father was in the U.S. Army, so Tate's family relocated often. They spent time in San Francisco, Washington State, Washington, D.C., and even Verona, Italy. Sharon Tate dreamt of becoming Hollywood's next big thing, and for a few short years, she actually was. Along the way, Tate's beauty started to attract attention. As the New York Times noted after Sharon Tate's death, the teenager won a number of beauty contests and was named Homecoming Queen and Queen of the Senior Prom at the high school that she attended in Italy. Winning beauty contests was one thing, but Tate seemed to want more. When her family moved back to the United States in 1962, she made a beeline for Los Angeles, California. There, she quickly snagged a 7-year contract with Filmways Incorporated and began getting bit parts in TV shows. Small roles eventually became bigger ones, and Tate was fatefully cast in The Fearless Vampire Killers, 1967, directed by Roman Polanski. Tate and Polanski developed a romantic relationship while working together, and married in London on January 20, 1968. Later that year, Tate was pregnant. Tate's tense final days before her murder. Sharon Tate died 8.5 months into her pregnancy. "All they see is a sexy thing," Sharon Tate told Look magazine in 1967. "People are very critical on me. It makes me tense. Even when I lay down, I'm tense. I've got an enormous imagination. I imagine all kinds of things. Like that I'm all washed up, I'm finished. I think sometimes that people don't want me around. I don't like being alone, though. When I'm alone, my imagination gets all creepy." She had mixed feelings about her husband, too. By August 1969, shortly before their baby was due, Tate had started to consider leaving him. They'd spent much of the summer in Europe, but Tate had returned to their rented home at 10050 Cielo Drive alone. Polanski had delayed his return so he could scout out movie locations. On the day before Sharon Tate's death, she called Polanski and argued with him about his absence. If he wasn't home in 10 days for his birthday party, she said, they were through. The rest of the day passed relatively peacefully, with no sign of the horror to come. Tate complained to her friends about her husband, raved about her soon-to-be-born baby, and took a nap. That evening, she went out to get dinner with aspiring writer Wojciech Frykowski and coffee heiress Abigail Folger, who'd been house-sitting, and Tate's ex-boyfriend, celebrity hairstylist Jay Sebring. By 10 p.m., they were all back at 10:50 Cielo Drive. But none of them would survive to see the sunrise. The horrific death of Sharon Tate at the hands of the Manson family. Body bags began littering the front lawn of 10:50 Cielo Drive as authorities recovered the bodies of Sharon Tate, Stephen Parent, and Wojciech Frykowski. In the early hours of August 9, 1969, Manson family members Charles Tex Watson, Susan Atkins, Linda Kasabian, and Patricia Krenwinkel drove from their group's makeshift residence at the disused Spahn Movie Ranch to the property at 10:50 Cielo Drive. They weren't specifically targeting Sharon Tate, or even her absent husband Roman Polanski. Instead, Charles Manson had told them to attack the house because its former occupant, producer Terry Melcher, had declined to get Manson the record deal he craved. In many ways, Sharon Tate's death was a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Watson later testified that Charles Manson had instructed them to go to that house where Melcher used to live and totally destroy everyone in it, as gruesome as you can. As Linda Kasabian later recalled, Watson cut the telephone wires and shot and killed 18-year-old Stephen Parent. The teen had the bad luck of visiting 10:50 Cielo Drive that night to sell a clock radio to the property's caretaker, William Garrettson, who was staying in a separate guest house. Garrettson was unharmed during the murders. Then, the cult members responsible for Sharon Tate's death entered the main house on the property. First, they encountered Frykowski, who was lying on a sofa in the living room. According to Helter Skelter, the true story of the Manson murders, Frykowski demanded to know who they were, to which Watson ominously responded, "I am the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's business." Moving silently through the house, the cult members collected Tate, Folger, and Sebring and brought them to the living room. When Sebring protested against their treatment of Tate, Watson shot him, and then tied him, Folger, and Tate to the ceiling by their necks. "You are all going to die," Watson said. Frykowski and Folger both tried to fight back against their captors. But the Manson family members stabbed Frykowski 51 times, and Folger 28 times, ultimately killing them. Then, only Sharon Tate was left alive. "Please let me go," Tate reportedly said. "All I want to do is have my baby." But the cult members showed no mercy. Atkins, Watson, or both, stabbed Tate 16 times as she cried out for her mother. After Sharon Tate's murder, Atkins, instructed by Manson to do something witchy, used Tate's blood to write pig on the front door of the home. And they left Sharon Tate dead like the others. The Manson murders didn't end there, however. The next night, the cult members, now joined by Leslie Van Houten, Steve Clem Grogan, and Manson himself, killed supermarket chain owner Leno LaBianca and his wife Rosemary, neither of whom was famous or notorious, at their home. The spate of violent and seemingly senseless murders baffled the nation. But the mystery of Sharon Tate's murder was finally solved when, according to Newsweek, Atkins bragged about killing Sharon Tate while she was locked up for car theft. The aftermath of the Tate murders that left America in shock. Sharon Tate's murder was later described as the moment the 60s ended by writer Joan Didion. In the aftermath of Susan Atkins' jailhouse confession, Charles Manson and some of his followers were put on trial for murder in 1970. They offered grisly descriptions of how their victims, including Sharon Tate, died at their hands. As for a motive, Manson had allegedly hoped to frame the Black Panthers and other black organizations for the brutal murder of Sharon Tate and the other victims so that he could start a race war. This might explain why Atkins felt compelled to write pig on Tate's front door. In the end, Manson and his followers were convicted of 9 murders, though some believe they were responsible for more killings. Manson, who most likely didn't actually kill anyone himself, Atkins, Krenwinkel, Watson, and one other cult member were sentenced to death. But their sentences were later commuted to life in prison. But amid the roller coaster trial of Manson and his followers, Sharon Tate's death became just one part of the larger Manson story. Her hopes of being a star and dreams of being a mother were instantly overshadowed by the chaos that Manson and his cult had wreaked across Los Angeles. The lasting, tragic legacy of Sharon Tate's death. Charles Manson grins as he leaves court while standing trial for Sharon Tate's death. It didn't help that many big-name media publications had gotten key details wrong in the aftermath of Sharon Tate's murder. For example, Time magazine reported that one of Tate's breasts was completely sliced off and that there was an X cut on her stomach, neither of which turned out to be true. And according to Women's Health, journalist Tom O'Neill, who researched the Manson family murders for 20 years, eventually uncovered evidence of a cover-up of the official story of Sharon Tate's death, including police carelessness, legal misconduct, and potential surveillance by intelligence agents. Even contemporary films about the Manson murders, like Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, 2019, don't flesh out Sharon Tate's character as much as her loved ones would like. Her sister, Deborah Tate, told Vanity Fair that she felt Sharon Tate's visit in the film was a little short, but that she'd fully approved of Margot Robbie's depiction of her sister. "She made me cry because she sounded just like Sharon," Deborah Tate explained. "The tone in her voice was completely Sharon, and it just touched me so much that big tears started falling. The front of my shirt was wet. I actually got to see my sister again, nearly 50 years later." In the end, Sharon Tate's death is one tragic piece of the Manson story. Just 26 years old when she was murdered, Sharon Tate had unfulfilled dreams of love, fame, and motherhood. But because of the cult leader and his followers, she'll always be remembered for her horrific demise. Who was Sharon Tate? Sharon Marie Tate was born in Dallas, Texas on January 24, 1943. She was the eldest of 3 daughters, and from an early age she began to enter beauty pageants. Following her pageant success, she appeared in several of small-screen productions and a number of fashion magazine campaigns. Her debut on the silver screen came in Barabbas in 1961. But her breakout role was in the 1967 cult flick Valley of the Dolls, where she played the character of Jennifer North. This role earned her a Golden Globe nomination. Sharon then appeared in The Fearless Vampire Killers, where she met and married her co-star and director Roman Polanski in August 1968. That same year, she fell pregnant with their child and they moved into a house on Cielo Drive in Benedict Canyon. Sharon then took a part in the comedy 12+1 to get the chance to star opposite Orson Welles. She flew to Italy to commence filming, while Roman was in London. When the filming ended, Tate joined her husband in London, then traveled on the QE2 from London to Los Angeles on July 20, 1969. Gender female. Date of birth January 24, 1943. Real name Sharon Marie Tate Polanski. Profession actress, model. Nationality American. Date of death August 9, 1969. Place of death Benedict Canyon, Los Angeles, California, United States. Birthplace Dallas, Texas, United States. Religion Christianity. Zodiac sign Aquarius. Sharon Tate education. Qualification, graduate. School, 1, Chief Joseph Junior High School, Chief Joseph Middle School now. 2, Columbia High School, Richard High School present name. 3, Vicenza American High School. 4, Irvin High School. Sharon Tate career. Profession, actress, model. Debut. Hollywood movies. 1, Barabbas, 1961. 2, Hemingway's Adventures of a Young Man, 1962. 3, The Americanization of Emily, 1965. 4, Don't Make Waves, 1967. 5, Valley of Dolls, 1967. 6, The Wrecking Crew, 1968. 7, The 13 Chairs, 1969. TV shows. 1, The Beverly Hillbillies, 1963-65. 2, Mr. Ed, 1963. 3, The Man from UNCLE, 1965. Net worth, $300,000 approximate. Family and relatives. Father, Colonel Paul James Tate, Army veteran. Mother, Doris Gwendolyn, criminal rights activist. Brother, none. Sister, Deborah, Patricia Tate. Marital status, married. Husband, Roman Polanski, M. 1968 to 1969. Know of children, 2. Son, Paul Richard Polanski, dead. Daughter, none.